Welcome, everybody, for tips and tricks on getting that PC organized. We are so excited that you're here. We're going to wait just a few minutes and let everybody get in the room, and then we'll get started. My name is Kimberly, and I am a photo organizer and am with the photo managers. My company is Visual Story Media, and we help people and businesses organize their phones, photos, digital images, and media. Why don't you put in the chat where you're coming from? We would love to see all the different states and cities that you're in, so that we know who showed up today. One of the things before we get started that I want to ask is that if you could hit the subscribe button, that really helps us, and it helps us get the word out. And make sure that you know about different things that are occurring with us. Let's see. Oh wow, Brazil and Atlanta. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, so very close to Atlanta. Wisconsin, cool. Wow. Oh, Canada. My husband's from Toronto, and I would like to be in Florida right now. That would be great. All right, so we don't have much time, and we want to give Holly as much time as possible. So let's bring Holly up. And I'm so glad you're here. Yay!
So I'm thrilled to be here.
I love that. All right. Holly is also a member of the Wonderful Photo Managers for over 10 years. She is the owner and founder of Capture Your Photos, where they celebrate life, they tell stories, and they touch hearts with photos and video collections. So I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Holly specializes in digital photo organizing and is excited today to dive in to show you how you can organize your photos, because we can do hard things. And not that it's that hard, but it's just not intuitive. You got to have a photo manager to show you how to do it. What do you think, Holly?
All about the process, Kimberly.
That's right. That's right. So let's see, we're about 3 minutes after, and I see that we're slowing down a little bit. Boy, we have a little bit from everywhere, more Germany and North Dakota. Yay! So I'm going to let you take it over. But remember, everybody, we are waiting until the end for our questions. So that you don't forget, go ahead and type in your question while Holly's talking about it. What do you think, Holly? Is that a good idea?
That's perfect. Yep. Get those questions in, because we're saving plenty of time for questions at the end.
Absolutely. And don't forget, in case you hadn't come in yet, to hit that subscribe button below. It really helps us. It also lets you know what's coming in the future, and helps us be able to spread the word about photo organizing. So Holly, I'm going to let you take it away.
We'll get our slides up here. There we go. Well, I am thrilled to be here. So I'm so excited to share with you today. So I'd like to start with a little bit of a story. About 10, 11 years ago, I sat down with a new client. We're going to call her Alex, not her real name, but this is a true story. We sat down to do an assessment, which is something that I do with all my new clients at the beginning of a project. We talk about your goals, we take inventory, we do all the beginning of the project things. So let me tell you a little bit about Alex. Alex was a busy mom with 2 young boys. She loved her photos, and she was really good at sharing them. She was a Windows PC user, and she had just basic technical skills. It's not that she couldn't, she just didn't want to do a lot of things on the computer. So technology just wasn't her jam. So we got into this meeting, and almost the first thing she told me was, I don't want any software, Holly. I just want you to put my photos organized in those little yellow folders in Windows File Explorer. Well, at the time, I was like, but I have this software, and it does this and that and this and that, and there's this bell and this whistle and all the things. And she was going to have none of it. She's like, I just don't want it. I don't want the mess of having to learn a new software system. I just want a simple structure in something I know in a familiar format. Alex taught me something that day. And 15 years of experience doing this work has really reinforced it. If I would have talked her into software that day with all the bells and whistles, she would have never used it. And likely it would have just led to frustration and additional years of a library that wasn't getting maintained. The little yellow folders were a great solution for her. When you're thinking about getting your photos organized, one second here. There we go. When you're thinking about getting your photos organized, I want you to think about where you're at on this spectrum. Are you an Alex, kind of toward the basic level, or do you want more? The beautiful thing is there's no wrong answer. And I love that. It's great. There is something for everyone out there. Today, though, we're going to focus on the Alexes of the world, PC users who want a familiar, simple solution to managing your photos. Now, I also want to just take just 1 second for my Mac users, because I saw a couple of the names here that are familiar to me. And Mac users, you could learn something today for sure. We're going to talk about some process stuff, but we are going to focus on the PC. Mac users, side note, I love Apple Photos. If you are a Mac user with an iPhone, stay in that Apple ecosystem. And maybe we'll do this for Macs later on. So right now we're focusing on the PC people today. So today I'm going to show you how you can use the native Windows tools like File Explorer and Microsoft Photos to organize and manage your memories. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you. In my opinion, Microsoft is not a rock star when it comes to photo management. They are pretty low on the spectrum of bells and whistles. But with that said, if you're a PC user and want a system that doesn't require you to have a lot of technical know-how and gives you a safe place to store and back up your photos, gives you a simple, straightforward, familiar format, a simple organizational structure like year folders or photos by subject kind of thing, or place to view your photos, easy sharing, and basic editing tools, then the processes I'm going to show you today are a pretty good solution for you. They're actually a great solution for you. So my name is Holly Corbett. I am the owner and founder of Capture Your Photos. I've been doing this work for almost 15 years. I own a business called Capture Your Photos, as Kimberly shared, and I do specialize in digital photo organizing because I love it. I work with both one-on-one with clients, as well as I am the creator and author of a series of online courses called the Photo Organizing Blueprint. I am a mom of 3, ages 27 to 18. My husband and I are new empty nesters. We just launched our 3rd into college this fall. And so we're learning how to do that. And we live in Stillwater, Minnesota. Here's our blueprint for today. We're going to talk about first about how to get started doing this work. Then we're going to go through 5 steps to organizing your photos. We're going to talk about how a cloud service can help you maintain your collection. We're going to touch on Microsoft Photos and the things that I like best about it. And then we're going to leave plenty of time for questions. All right, let's get started. The hardest part of a project like this, I hear over and over, and I kind of agree with it, is getting started. In order to organize your photos, you first need to know where they are. So you want to start by making a list of all the places where your digital photos are living. I would say that most of my clients have photos in maybe 5 to 10 places or so. That's how many places they need to go to find their digital photos. So this might include computers, maybe more than one, external hard drives, photo CDs, DVDs, flash drives, old memory cards, cloud sites like iCloud and Dropbox and OneDrive and Google Photos and Shutterfly, all the places. I want you to list them all. This is a photo inventory form that I use with my clients to start that process. If you think having this form would be a helpful tool for you, as well as some tips, head on over to my website after we're done here and go to captureyourphotos.com/free guide. I also want to let you know that in the notes today, we're going to be giving you a bunch of links. And so go ahead and just grab those links as we're going, or you can, I think they're going to be in a list for you at the end. All right. Okay, so once you've taken inventory, there are 5 steps to organizing your photos. The first is to select a location for your digital hub, and we'll talk about what that is in a minute. Second is to consolidate. The third is to deduplicate. The fourth is to organize, and the fifth is to back it up. We're going to walk through these steps at a pretty high level today, but if you want more, again, in the webinar notes, you're going to find the links to the Photo Organizing Blueprint online courses, which are going to give you step-by-step guides to everything that we're talking about today. So let's walk through these steps. Step one is to select a location for your digital hub. The first step in getting your photos organized is to create a digital hub. Well, what's a digital hub? A digital hub is where you store a full resolution, original copy of your digital photos. Ultimately, your goal is to get everything into one place that you own. You have two good options for a digital hub. The first is a computer hard drive. I personally like that best. I think that's the most secure place to store your photos as long as they're backed up. But the second option is a good one too, an external drive. If your computer doesn't have enough room, an external drive is a great option. My favorite type of external drive is a solid state drive. I recommend that my clients buy a 2 terabyte solid state drive. That will give the average user plenty of space, more than enough space usually for their collection, but also room to grow. If you need recommendations on external drives, again, visit capturephotos.com and go to our resources page, and we'll share that link. So at this point, you might be thinking, but Holly, what about the cloud? The answer to the question of can I save my photos there is yes. However, my recommendation is that you don't rely on a cloud service alone to store your photos. Now, I love a cloud service for accessing photos from other devices and backup and sharing. But relying on a third party 100% to keep my memories safe is a risk that I'm not willing to take with my own or my clients' memories. In the photo world, there are some big names when it comes to cloud service, such as all these that I'm listing here today. Storage has become big business. However, the market and the services are changing so quickly that is the only place that if that's the only place you're storing your photos and that service goes out of business, they get acquired, they change policies, they raise their rates, it puts you in a position of either having to do something quickly with your photos to avoid losing them or succumb to whatever changes they decide to make, which often costs you either time or money. In the past several years, all of these big names have made changes. Some of them have been really significant. This is not a position that I want you in. So sticking with your computer hard drive or an external drive as your primary copy is recommended. With all of that said, I love a cloud service. So hang tight. We're going to talk more about that to come. All right, step 2 is to gather your digital photos into one place or consolidate your digital photos. My best advice for you on this is to grab everything. Don't fall into the trap of, oh, I'll grab those later. The problem with that gathering everything at once is that when you bring something new into or bring something old into the collection, you run the risk of adding duplicates because you've already gone through this deduplication process. You add duplicates, and quite honestly, you just forget what you've added. So save yourself the time and energy and do it well now. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a folder structure in File Explorer, either on your computer hard drive or your external drive. You're going to create a folder called Digital Hub. Then within that folder, you're going to create another folder called Original Sources. Then within that folder, you're going to create a folder for each source of your collection. So if you have photos on your computer, you're going to create a folder that says your computer, so Holly's computer, or your phone, or your CDs and DVDs, or your memory cards, or Google Photos, or iCloud, or whatever it is, you're going to have a folder for it. Then you're going to copy all of the photos from that particular source into that folder. Make sense? All right, then you're going to back it up because it's going to be a mess. But at this point, you've done so much work in getting everything there. You just want to keep it safe. So back it up. All right, step 3, deduplicate your collection. So once everything is consolidated, pretty much everyone has duplicates. So deduplicating your collection can be super, super satisfying. Knowing that you only have one copy of everything feels so, so, so good. So there's 2 ways that you can deduplicate. The first is manually, which is painful. I'm just going to say that out loud. The second is deduplication software. So my favorite PC software for deduplicating is called Duplicate Cleaner. You'll also hear it referred to as Duplicate Cleaner Pro. Here's the website for it. That it's just what I think works best. But let me tell you a few things about deduplication software. The first thing is that it looks at the image, not just the file name. So I get that question a lot, that people have photos that are all called file 001, and they have 5 of those. And the question is, oh, how does the deduplication software know? Because it looks at the image itself. The second thing you need to know is that it's not perfect. When photos are moved in, out, and between various systems, or they're edited, big and small changes in the files occur, which affect how well the software recognizes the duplicates. So it's a really awesome tool, but I would say that you just have to know that it's not going to be perfect. The third thing is that deduplication software is a massively huge time saver. So you just heard me say in my opening, talking about these people that are doing this with the PC kind of thing are not big software people, and you don't have to be. So software is pretty user friendly, but if you don't want to do this, don't do it. Find someone that can do it. There are photo managers all over the world. Just go to the photomanagers.com and you can put your name, put your location in, and you can find someone that's close to you. Or there are people like me that do things remotely all the time. I have lots and lots of clients that are all over the place. And you can just send us the drive. We'll deduplicate for you and send it back if that's what you want us to do. So you don't have to do this yourself, but it's an option. All right. Step 4 is organizing and cleaning up. So we all have different levels of organization. So some of you like everything perfectly uber organized, and others are just going to be so happy to get everything into one place. Like most things, you need to organize in a way that works with your brain and your lifestyle, from the setup to the maintenance. I have clients who can only think chronologically, so their photos are organized by year. I have other clients who have a hard time remembering dates, so they prefer to organize by theme or subject. My solution is a little of both. I like a hybrid system, and let me show you what that looks like. So a chronological system or chronological sorting is sorting your photos by year or by year and month, and it works well for your day-to-day photos and when you want minimal maintenance on your library. You don't want to take the time to file photos. Subject or theme-based sorting is sorting your photos into folders that aren't necessarily tied to dates. So some photos lend themselves to subject-based organizing, such as vacation. So for example, if you put all of your vacation photos in a master folder called travel, and then within that travel folder, you have a folder for each one of your vacations, that's a perfect setup. Other subjects work well for theme-based organizing are events, holidays, work photos. One of my favorite folders that I have in my collection is my Halloween folder. So I have a folder that has Halloween all through up and down the years. So I prefer to go one place like that for my Halloween pictures versus having to go into every year and look at my Halloween photos. So that's just one example. Subject-based organizing also works well when you don't have dates. For example, I've scanned many of my extended family's photos, and while it would be fun to know when each of these old photos were taken, I don't. So I organize those by family. So do you see where I'm headed with this hybrid thing? So it's kind of using the best of both worlds, and just having a system like that can be a really helpful way to be able to find your photos easier and more quickly. So let's go ahead and start organizing. So at this point, you have photos in your original sources folder by source. Your goal is to move all the photos from that folder into an organized structure. So I like to work in what's called the details pane. Okay, I like working in this because you can see you can change your view to look at the extra large icons, or you can look at details. It also shows you the metadata of the photo selected. So metadata is the information that's attached to every single digital file. So it's things like the date or a keyword, or like in this case, you can kind of see along the right-hand side, I'm pointing to this like you can see me pointing, the type of camera and all that kind of stuff. There's tons of information that's in every single digital file. And you can see that when you're looking at the details pane. So to get to the details pane, you just go to View, Show, and Details pane. All right, so The first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up a structure and do some cleanup. So the first thing you're going to do is go to your digital hub folder and you're going to create a folder called Photos. Within the Photos folder, you're going to create a folder called Photos and Years and one called Photos by Subject. Within the Photos by Subject folder, I like to create some theme folders to just get us started. Essentially, they're buckets to sort into, like events, activities, family, holidays, travel, etc. I highly recommend that you keep your themes to a minimum. The more folders you have, in my opinion, the harder it is to find things. So I'm a big advocate of folders. I like things organized and neat and tidy like that, but you can't have a zillion of them if you want to find things. So once you've created your theme folders, you're going to go through each of your original sources folders and find any subject folders that you've previously created. So if you previously have created a trip to Mexico, so you went and you created a folder that has all of your pictures of your trip to Mexico, you're going to move that folder into the travel folder. And you're going to just go through that exercise going through each of your original sources folders. Not all of the folders that you have previously created need to be filed. So think about if the folder is one that's going to be important to your family archive for years to come. Or think about, are the photos in this folder ones that I really easily want to find? Oftentimes, especially back in the day, I'll find people created folders that have just like one photo or two photos in them. If they have one or two, chances are you don't need it. And you can just group those photos and keep them in the chronological part of your structure. All right. Chronological sorting is what's next. So once you move your previously created subject-based folders, it's time to move all of the photos that remain in your original sources folders into your folders. And so to complete this step, you have two options. The first is to do this manually in File Explorer by creating a folder for each year, then going to your original sources folders and simply cutting and pasting them from there to the year that they belong in. So in this particular case, these photos are all from 2015. So these can be plucked out and put into the 2015 folder, for example. Or you can use sorting software. Sorting software, it just makes it go faster. Again, if software is not your jam, don't even worry about it. You can do this manually. It's just going to take you a little bit more time. My favorite sorting software for this purpose is called PhotoMove. It's under $10, so it's super reasonably priced. And it actually takes everything that you tell it to take the photos from your original sources folder and put it in your folders, and it's kind of magical. And I love magical. So that's just an option for you. So once everything is moved out of your original sources folder, it's time to clean up. All right, your first task is to go through your year folders to determine if there's anything in there that you want to move into theme-based folders. So for example, if you have vacations or important events or photos that are specific to a certain family member. So the example here is I like having in my family folder, each of my family members has their own folder. And I move things like activities, things that are specific to them. So things from their birthdays, things from activities, school activities, graduations, weddings, faith events like baptism or confirmation or first communion or things that are specific to them, I move into this folder. And that does two things. First thing, if they haven't graduated yet and you're just building this folder, it's a great resource for you come graduation time. The second good thing that it does is if you are at the point in life that you want to gift your children with photos of them from their childhood, this is a great way to do that. All right, then once you do that, you're going to clean up. There's nothing that's going to have a bigger impact on your collection is if you just start deleting. We all take way, way, way too many pictures. Our kids don't want 50,000 pictures. They just don't. So anything you can delete is going to be good. So you're unwanted, you're bad, you're excessive. The redundant photos. I have so many clients that will, pick the one that they like best. They'll heart it or they'll rate it 5 or whatever. And then they'll leave the other 4. Delete them, you guys. You don't need them. Just pick the best, delete the rest. I always say fall in love with your delete key. The next thing is optional. I like to move my videos to a videos folder. Now, if you have a video from that trip to Mexico that is in your Mexico folder, I would leave it there. But all the day-to-day videos that we take now, I like to move those into year folders into a video hub that is video hub by years. That way, it makes them so much easier to cull. So delete the ones that aren't meaningful to you anymore. And just we enjoy videos a little bit differently, and so you can go through and you can look at lots of videos all at once, which is kind of how often we enjoy them. So the formats types to look for are listed here. MOV is coming from your iPhone. MP4s typically come from an Android. The other ones typically come from old camcorder types of or videotape kind of things, and you can just sort on those by clicking on type. In File Explorer, it'll have the columns. You click on type and it will sort by type. So you have your JPEGs and then all of the other different things like your PNG files, which are your screenshots and that kind of thing. Oh, and the deleting part, screenshots. Delete your screenshots that you're not using anymore. And then the third thing, I want you to delete the old mess. So once you've had your digital photos are confidently in their new home and you've backed them up, we're going to talk about that in a minute. I want you to not forget to go back and delete the mess. Delete all of the stuff that's hanging out in all the other places because you don't need it anymore. I know people get really nervous about that, but it is such a good idea because you're going to forget. I guarantee you're going to forget what you added to your project and that kind of thing. So just get rid of it. Don't keep it as your backup. Keep a good copy of your organized library as your backup. And at this point, we celebrate because you will have done a ton of work. Few more things though. There's some of those people. Remember we talked about that some of you want everything uber organized and some of you are going to be totally okay at this point. But if you want more, you can do things like keywording and tagging your photos. So just right click and go to properties details and you can add keywords so you can search on things. You can rename your photos. I like to have the date in the beginning so I can just see when things were taken. And then you can add other information about a photo. And then facial recognition. So here's the big bummer, in my opinion, about Microsoft is there is no facial recognition program involved in it. They used to have it. But I think Microsoft may have gotten caught up in some of the AI issues with facial recognition and some of the legalities and all that kind of stuff. And so they pulled it. I don't know if we'll ever get it back. This is probably my biggest dislike about Microsoft Photos, but I still think it's a good tool for a lot of people. All right. Step 5 is to back up your photos. There is nothing that I'm talking about today that's more important than backing up your photos. Technology fails all the time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So you need to have your photos backed up. So best practices for backing up your photos is 3 copies. The first is your primary copy, and these should be saved on either your computer hard drive or an external drive. Your second copy should be somewhere that's easily accessible to you on a different device. Often this is an external drive. And the third copy should be an offsite copy. So these days, this is most often a cloud service, but it could be a copy on an external drive that's kept somewhere other than your home. So I want you to keep in mind that for this offsite copy, if the cloud service is syncing with your device, it's technically not considered a true backup because if you delete a whole folder of photos from one, it's going to delete from the other. So that includes OneDrive and Dropbox, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. However, with that said, OneDrive saved my bacon. When I had a computer crash in the past year, it allowed me to set up my new computer with very little interruption to my work, which I was completely surprised about. I thought it was going to be a big to-do, and it was actually very easy. So it's still okay. It's certain situations that it's not a backup, but in that kind of a case, it worked beautifully. So it can be considered a backup. All right. So, there's your 3 copies. Sorry about that. All right. So here's what we've done so far. If you go to File Explorer, you have a folder called your Digital Hub. In that folder, your memories are going to be organized by year or theme, and you've taken the time to deduplicate and back them up. You can stop here and be good. I mean, for a lot of you, you'll be like so happy, and that's awesome. but let's see how we could make it just a little bit better. And the reason it's a little bit better, because what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to use a cloud service to make it easier for accessing your memories and maintaining them. So while you don't need to have a cloud service, I really appreciate one. So my favorite cloud services for helping PC users manage their OneDrive and Dropbox, and I'll tell you why in a minute, so my favorite things are OneDrive and Dropbox. But I want to touch on Google Photos and iCloud because those are the native cloud service for your smartphones. So both of these services are fine. However, neither iCloud nor Google Photos make it easy when you're an Alex, you're a PC user, and you have the philosophy that you want to own your photos. So I also want to say, and this applies to everything that I'm talking about today, technology is changing so dang fast, and there are updates that are happening all the time. In fact, earlier this week, there was a huge Apple update, and this fall, we're going to see a big Windows 11 update. So this is where we are at on September 19th, 2024. So back to iCloud. iCloud is something called iCloud for Windows, but I'm going to be really honest. My opinion is that my experience hasn't been very great with it, so it's not my go-to. Google Photos makes it challenging to back up your collection. It doesn't sync with your PC, so it requires more maintenance if you want to own a copy of your photos and not rely on Google to keep them safe. The other issue I have with Google is any changes you make in Google Photos are only good in that app. So if you do a bunch of organizing in Google Photos and tagging and all that kind of stuff, if I were to download those photos onto my PC, that work would be gone. So why do I like Dropbox and OneDrive? Both play really well with PCs, allowing you to automatically sync your collections on an ongoing basis. They store and transfer your original full resolution images, so no compression, which happens in a lot of cloud services. They maintain metadata. You won't lose things like dates and keywords. They can act as a backup if your computer crashes. They can give you access to your whole collection on any device, computer, phone, tablet, etc. And my favorite feature of both of these cloud services is the camera uploads function, which automatically downloads your smartphone photos to your computer, which is a gift to yourself. So let me show you what that looks like. Before I dive headlong into this, I just want to tell you that I have a free guide that if you don't want to take notes on this process of this automatic syncing, you can get, and I'm going to give you the link to it at the after I go through everything. So you don't have to take great notes if you don't want to. You can get that free guide. Okay, so on your phone, so again, if you want to download your photos automatically from your phone to your computer, first you're going to start on your phone. You're going to download and install the Dropbox or OneDrive mobile app, whichever one you choose. Then you're going to create an account or sign into an existing account. For example, if you already have a subscription to Microsoft 365, you are already paying for a terabyte of OneDrive space. So this is not going to cost you a dime to do this. Likewise, if you're paying for a Dropbox subscription, it's the same thing. So use those systems that you're already paying for. I'm a big fan of that. All right, then you're going to go to the app settings and you're going to turn on camera uploads. And then you're just going to be patient. The first download is going to take a while, and you have to keep your phone, you may have to keep your phone awake while some of this magic is happening. But after that, it will only download your new pics and is 100% worth the wait. So once they're downloaded, from your phone to the app on your phone, so from your phone camera roll to the app on your phone, let's get them set up to sync to your computer. So to do an automatic download to your computer, you're going to download the Dropbox or OneDrive desktop app on your computer. Then you're going to go to File Explorer and you're going to sign into your account. So I show you here where it says OneDrive, Dropbox, the little thing. Those are the icons. So that's where you go to sign in. So that's at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. So go there, sign into your account. Once you sign in, Dropbox and OneDrive should be showing up in the folder list on the left-hand side of File Explorer. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Under the app, you're going to find a camera uploads or a camera roll folder. And in OneDrive, that folder is in the pictures folder. Again, you got to be patient. Your photos will quickly start downloading into those folders, but it will take a while to get everything downloaded. If you want to use the cloud to access your whole library across devices and back it up, all you need to do is move that digital hub folder that you just got all organized and move it under the Dropbox or OneDrive folders in File Explorer. So this is what that looks like. So you can see like in OneDrive here, it says Holly Personal. This is my OneDrive folder. And there's a pictures folder. And under the pictures folder, you see Digital Hub. Okay. And in Dropbox, there's no pictures folder. You can just move it into Digital Hub. All right. So once you get that done, it will start uploading immediately, as long as you have enough space. So this means that if you want your whole collection to be backed up, you are going to have to pay an annual fee for a subscription. So like I mentioned, if you have Microsoft 365, you're already paying for a terabyte of OneDrive space, which should be plenty. An important note, the default for both OneDrive and Dropbox is to store photos in their cloud space. So in order for you to keep those full resolution photos on your hard drive, which is what you want, you do need to adjust this one setting. And that is we're going to talk about right here. So you're going to click on the pictures or camera roll or digital hub folder, whatever folder you want to keep on your hard drive. You're going to right click, and in OneDrive, you're going to select always keep on this device. And in Dropbox, you're going to select Dropbox and then make available offline. And so the question is, well, how can you tell if it worked? Well, you can tell it worked by looking at the photo or the folder will have a cloud by it if it's only being stored in the cloud site, and it will have a green check mark by it if it is being stored on your hard drive. All right. The beautiful thing about this is, as far as maintenance going forward, all you have to do is move your photos from the camera roll folder into your digital hub with the rest of your collection. All right, this was a lot of information, and I recognize that, and I went through it very fast. But if you want this all written out perfectly, and I think I gave iPhone examples here. I give iPhone and Android examples in the guide. So if you want a guide, this is where you can go and get it. And this link will be in the list of all the links for today. Okay, let's keep going. So up until now, we have been working in File Explorer. And so that is my preference for organizing. Microsoft does have a Photos app, and some of you might be familiar with it, that you can access by clicking into the Windows app on your menu bar. However, I don't love it. I'm going to be honest with you. It attempts to put your photos in date order, similar to how you see them on your phone. But I don't think the dates are quite right. Sometimes it uses modified dates, and I don't know. It just is quirky, and so it's just not my favorite. If you want to just view your photos, it's actually nice for viewing your photos. However, when it comes to organizing, I think it's quirky, and I don't like where it pulls the dates from. So I don't recommend using it as an organizing tool. However, there are a few features that I do like, and the best part is that the Microsoft tools are baked into into File Explorer. So let me show you what that looks like. So if you double click on the photo in File Explorer, you get this. And you can see all the tools. So it basically pulls you into Microsoft Photos, and it gives you all these options. So like you can see, you can edit the photo, rotate, delete, print, share, play a slideshow. And those three dots next to it there are other options. There's lots of things that you can do once you double click on the photo from File Explorer. You don't have to be in Microsoft Photos to do this. I really like actually the Microsoft Photos editing tools. Especially for things like just basic cropping, color correction, and that kind of thing. I think they're very easy to use for all tech levels. All you have to do is, again, double click on the photo, and then you'll get all the tools associated with that. So I really like those. But as a rule, I don't go into Microsoft Photos app directly from that Windows thing along the bottom on the bottom menu. However, if you're a fan, I want to hear from you, because maybe I'm missing something. I just haven't found a good way to use it. And if anyone here is from Microsoft, I just have to say this out loud. I would love to chat with you about how we can make this tool better for organizing. All right, before we finish up today, Um, I want to talk to those people that want more. So if you are looking at this and you're like, oh, I kind of want some more features, more bells, whistles kind of thing, let me just touch on that for a minute. The great thing about the process that we walked through today is that you can take at any time the organizing that you've done and import them into a software system, import them into the app, and they will work just beautifully. So you're not losing anything by organizing here, even if you decide you want more later. So all of these options, in my opinion, require a little more tech knowledge and a little more for both setup and maintenance. But all of them have those additional features that if you find that it's not enough with the basic stuff, they might be of interest to you. So the first one is Adobe. So Adobe Bridge and Lightroom. Bridge is pretty basic. Lightroom is not so basic. In my opinion, it's definitely, I find that professionals will use Lightroom for sure. And then some other people that are really into their photos, hobbyists, that kind of thing. But there's tons of bells and whistles, but it's a little bit, you have to like to do the tech stuff. Mylio is getting a lot of buzz right now and has some cool features, no doubt, but you do need to be prepared to handle the tech involved in Mylio. Historian is from a company called Forever, which quite honestly I used for years and really loved for a long time. But again, it's software you need to spend some time learning. It doesn't have the built-in syncing with the phone, so that's kind of a problem for me. Cloud services. So you know how I feel about the cloud services. So here's the challenge. Some of these cloud services have such cool and amazing AI, and they can be really, really fun. But they don't automatically sync to your PC, which means they own your photos unless you manually manage them by downloading the new photos to a hard drive on a regular basis, which absolutely can be done. But in my experience, if you're a person that doesn't love the tech, you want to hit the easy button. You don't think you'll take the time to manage it on a regular basis, and you don't want to be caught off guard by cloud services that are changing their policies. These apps might not be the best for you, the cloud service apps. It all comes back to what I call your photo personality. Thank you so much for being here today. I want you to check out all of in the webinar, all the notes for all the links if you want any of those. The more if you need kind of that next level, step-by-step guide to everything we talked about today can be found in the photo organizing blueprint. So Kimberly, what kind of questions do we have?
Oh, girl, you did good. That was excellent. Excellent. Great information. So everybody, a couple of things to remind you of. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. And we're going to answer them in just a second. And again, hit that button and get us subscribed, because that's super helpful for us. And let's begin, because we got people waiting on these questions to get their questions answered. So how do I move files from one computer or hard drive to another? Like, do you use copy paste? Do you drag and drop software? Which of the three choices that this person gave would you recommend?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. If you're moving things, a cut and paste is better than a click and drag. Although on a PC, I don't think it matters so much. If you're on a Mac, you can lose things clicking and dragging. So I am a bigger fan of the cut and paste. If we're talking about it, and there's different reasons you're going to use the different things. So if your original sources, for example, if you're trying to put photos in those original sources, I usually recommend the copy paste until you make sure you get them in there and you get them in there, fully, and then you can go delete. But just technology is technology, and copy and paste in that situation is good. But when you're moving things within your digital hub, sometimes it's okay to cut and paste.
Agreed. Better safe than sorry. That's a good rule to think about, especially when you're moving files.
Always. Yeah.
All right. So when you copy the photo to your digital hub, do you lose the original metadata?
No. You can copy from external drive, whatever, you don't lose metadata in just doing that. Where metadata gets often lost is cloud services. So if you're downloading from cloud services, depending on the service, you often lose a lot of metadata doing that. Again, depending on the service. But generally just going from here to there, there's no reason you should lose it.
Okay, great. And our next question is, what do you recommend for deduping on a Mac? Which I did this morning, as a
I
matter of
love
fact.
PhotoSweeper.
What program do you use?
Yep.
I use PhotoSweeper too.
I love PhotoSweeper.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make sure you download the manual if you buy it, and have that manual ready because it's super helpful, really easy to read, and as you're starting and learning how
There's
to do
also
it.
a course. There's also a course on the photo managers by Peter Bennett that is an amazing course. Really, really good.
Couldn't have done a better job. It's step by step by step by step, and it's excellent. So look at the photo manager's website, and that again, if you're going to use PhotoSweeper, that's a great one. Our next question is okay. On Elena's computer, there are photos that have the wrong date or multiple dates on them that are incorrect due to various exporting techniques or software or whatever. And other software stripping the piece of metadata from them. Is there a solution that you recommend?
Yeah, really, if the metadata has already been stripped, really the only solution, which I recommend actually, is doing going into the properties. So if you click on the photo, right click, go to properties and details, and you can change a date of the photo in File Explorer by doing it there. So that is really my recommendation for doing that. I like a good date on it. It bugs me when something is dated 2024, but it's really a 2015 photo. So I really like going in and changing those dates, but you can do that through properties and details.
And then you can also change a lot of dates if you have a lot of files by just going into Explorer at that very top line where it says file and uh, let's see, name and all that. You can add dates, date of origin, date taken, date created, all that stuff at the top, and then you can do a whole multiple ones. If you've got, sounds like she's got a real problem, and it might be helpful to have multiple ones. So that's great.
That's good.
Our next question. How do you know if a photo's date is correct?
You just got to know what your photos are. The clues that we have as photo managers, we don't know the people, we don't know the events or whatever. But the clues to me are like if there's a whole chunk of photos that are clearly not taken on the same day, but they're all dated, September 19th, 2024, and it's likely the date that I downloaded it from somewhere. I know that that date's probably not correct. But other than that, you kind of just have to know your photos. When you go through this process, there will be way more dates that are correct than incorrect. There's just going to be those pesky ones, and you might see some trends in the larger groups from the same source. So like I downloaded a client's Shutterfly photos, they were a mess. I mean, there was like they had been completely stripped, and so yeah, it's you can kind of see trends sometimes, but you kind of a little bit got to know when your photos were taken.
Is muted. Okay. I agree with you there. And also that same thing I said with the File Explorer and those dates at the top. Sometimes you can look at several dates at once, like the date
Yeah.
created and and then that can maybe give you some information. So sometimes I've used 3 dates at one time, so that's good. Um, how do you differentiate between the word tag and keyword?
Yeah, I don't. They're the same thing. They're the same thing. Depending on what system you're in, they'll be called the same thing. I think they're called tags in Microsoft. I think they're called keywords in Apple. Same thing.
Absolutely. All righty. And our next question is, do the keywords or tags added to File Explorer to the photos stay intact when you move the photos in different places?
Yeah, they do. So you have to do it in the right way. You have to go into those properties and add the keywords that way. But you can do a whole folder. Like if you have that folder of vacation trips, can select all of those and go into the properties and the details, and you can put that tag in there all at once. But yes, it will stay intact. So unlike if you're in like some of the cloud services that don't allow you to download that information, it won't stay intact in those like Google Photos, but in Microsoft it will.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Y'all have done such great questions. These are wonderful. Do you have an opinion about iDrive?
No, I don't have an opinion about iDrive. I think it's fine. I think it's a fine service. I haven't used it personally, but you know, I think it probably is fine if it's something you're already using. Any backup is better than no backup.
100%. 100% there. Backup, backup, backup. 3-2-1 backup system. Absolutely. Now, what are the pros and cons of OneDrive versus Dropbox? And would you recommend one of these over the other if someone doesn't have either and they're going to go to a backup system?
I don't know that I have a huge preference. I think I gravitate more toward OneDrive only because so many of my clients are already paying for Microsoft 365. And so it's included in the package. So that might be why I gravitate. The other thing about there's this whole ecosystem thing that I think when you stay within an ecosystem of a system, I think it just makes things run a little bit more smoothly, maybe. But I think they both have very similar functionality. And you're actually using, if you're using Dropbox, you're actually using the Microsoft Photos tools for editing and that kind of thing. You're not even using Dropbox tools because you're doing it right on your computer. So this is assuming you're doing it on your computer versus using the app on your phone. And so some of the tools are even the same. So I can't say that I have a real preference for one over the other.
Yeah, I agree with you about, plus I would also add, it's whatever you're comfortable with. If you're used to OneDrive, then, but there's really not that much difference between the two. So, all right, our next question is, which cloud service lose, let's see, which cloud services could possibly lose metadata? Google Photos, Amazon Prime, etc.
Yeah, so most of those types of cloud services don't allow you to download the changes you make in those apps. So Google Photos is one. I believe Amazon Photos is the same. Shutterfly, you don't make changes in that, but Shutterfly is don't store your photos in Shutterfly. They are not meant to store that. I'm trying to think of those are probably the biggest ones that people use the most.
Okay. All right. And then our next question is, I'm not sure that you can
It's a little bit
change
of
the
a
dates
delay.
easily in the detail pane.
You get experiencing that delay.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can change the dates easily in the detail pane in Windows 11.
Yep. So I can see the question, so I can go ahead and just respond to the question. In the details pane in Windows 11, they made it harder than it needed to be. Windows 10, you could just go to the details pane and just change it. And Windows 11, now they're making you go to the properties and go into the details, which just annoys the crap out of me. But the good news, I don't know if it's good or not. There is a new update coming in this fall, and I'm really hoping that they're going to change some of these things that they changed when they moved from 10 to 11. There's going to be this is a big update, I guess. I don't really know all the exact things about it. I haven't really seen it. I've just read a little bit about it. So they're going to make that easier. But you're right. You can actually you can change them, but then it was in 10, unfortunately.
Got it. And we have our last question or comment, and that is, do you think PhotoStick or devices like PhotoStick are trustworthy to gather photos from your computer, even if you have a Mac or a PC or whatever?
Quite honestly, I there are so many of those gadgets out there. I don't use any of them. I think it's just as easy things around a little bit than relying on them, because you just don't know if they're thing. And some of these look like things that like there's a picture on a document or something like that, it'll pull that, or I don't know, there's all kinds of weird things that it does. So I'm not into the gadgets. I would rather just go in and try to find them and do the hunting and pecking, because if you do it well, you're going to do it once, and that's it. So I'm not a big fan of paying for the gadgets.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, you have answered some great questions, and thank you for everybody who's on here. Y'all have asked some great questions. A couple things. Thank you so much, Holly, for your insight and your knowledge and sharing all this. I'm sure everybody appreciates all the energy that you use to put in this. And Holly's website's on there if you want to get in touch with her, and encourage. Again, I need to suggest everybody click that button and subscribe, because it's really helpful to us, and also it gives y'all information. Now remember that you can download the free handouts. Just check the link in the description, and then that'll help you there. And let me see, looking at my notes here. And we've got other things coming for Save Your Photos Month. So go to the Save Your Photos Month's website and look at that. I've watched some great stuff I've learned stuff, and I know that everybody out there who wants to get organized, because we all want to be organized with our photos, will help. And then thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Holly. Thank you for the people who watched us today, and good luck in organizing those photos.